Boys, you be good for Casey?
Oh.
You go, boy. Oh, thank you for kisses. Good boys. We'll miss you. Be good dog. Learn how to do everything one-handed. Locked and loaded. Locked and ready. We'll see you later. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the vlog. On today's episode, we're going up to Seattle to go over the transplant evaluation I just went through. Let's roll the intro. We left on Tuesday, October 16th, 2018, after my dialysis treatment. It wasn't a very eventful drive, so I won't bore you guys with too much of the drive up there. The appointment started early Wednesday morning at 7, so we wanted to make sure that we got up there and stayed at my girl Sam's aunt and uncle's house. That way we could just make the short drive from their place in Renton up to Seattle, which is like a 20-minute drive. I'm going to kind of go over the day with you guys, and we weren't really able to film too much because of the HIPAA rights in hospitals. HIPAA stands for the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, which basically means it has to do with patient rights and being discreet about the information that's shared in hospitals. So there's not much that we were able to film. Since check-in was at 7 a.m., we woke up at 5, wanted to make sure that we had plenty of time. We didn't have to rush to find parking or locate the spot that we were supposed to check into. Of course, we arrived nice and early, got there at 6:30. Oh, it's about 6:30 in the morning. Let's get this show on the road. Figure out where we are in this place. Let's go. The nice thing is that the x-ray technician got us in right away. Of course, wasn't able to film in there with the x-ray machine going on. And then we had to wait a little bit, of course. There was going to be a lot of waiting today during this time. And we had to wait a little bit for the ultrasound. But the ultrasound technician again said that we weren't allowed to film that process, but you guys know what an ultrasound machine looks like. I had to fast for the ultrasound, so after that we were able to go get a little bit of snack. Went down to the car, kept walking back and forth, and we were able to go get some breakfast. And then had our first meeting with the financial coordinator. Now, the financial coordinator helped us go over all my current insurances, discuss a plan for how much money we needed to expect to save before the transplant. The great news is having end-stage renal disease, basically everything is covered by Medicare. The co-pays are all pretty much zero, and then I have a supplement plan which covers the other 20% that Medicare doesn't cover of all the different costs, and even the deductible for that is covered by the American Kidney Fund. So I really got to give it up to a lot of the different programs that are available to me, and without them I wouldn't be able to get through all this stuff, that's for sure. The financial coordinator helped us understand all the different coverages and also what type of money we would need to save for after the transplant, the type of expenses that we could expect to incur right after the transplant and further on after the recovery and the years to follow being a transplant recipient. A lot of this stuff I already know because I've already had a transplant. So a lot of it was review for me in these meetings. So then we met with the social worker.
Hi.
Hey. The social worker basically kind of reviewed some of the stuff with the insurances and also made sure that we had a plan for a place to stay during the whole transplant. Usually the recovery is about 1 to 3 months, sometimes shorter, sometimes longer. It can go up to 5 months, so they want to make sure that you're prepared and have a plan of where you're going to stay after this transplant. You have to stay within about an hour's drive distance at the most from the hospital, so if anything comes up, if there's any complications or issues with your lab results, you're able to get right back to the hospital right away. Social workers also wanted to make sure that I had caregiver available not only for myself but for my donor, and the caregivers basically need to be available 24/7 in case anything goes on, make sure that I'm taking my medications, check my blood pressures. Next meeting we had was with the transplant coordinator. Now, like I said, a lot of this stuff was review because I've already had a transplant before, but he wanted to make sure that we understood the differences between having a live donor or a deceased donor, the types of complications that could come up for me during the surgery, types of complications that could possibly come up for the donors, which really aren't much. He also wanted to make sure that we understood the benefits of having a live donor versus a deceased donor. Having a deceased donor, the kidneys usually don't last as long, and with a live donor they're able to find a much better, stronger match that will hopefully last for a lot longer, which is what they really want for me, because I'm a young guy, I'm a healthy person, and they want my transplant to last as long as possible. The really nice thing that he explained to us is for all living donors that donate a kidney to me, one, if they ever have any type of complications in their lifetime due to the transplant, all of the medical costs that they incur from those complications are covered 100% for life. So that's pretty cool to know that usually there's not many problems that come from donating a kidney, but if there is any types of problems that come from that, the donors don't have to worry about their insurance is covering that. My insurance, Medicare, will always take care of them for life. And the really nice thing to know too is, God forbid, if they were ever to have any types of major problems and need a transplant of their own in the future, they would actually be bumped to the front of the line for the donor list and not have to wait through the long donor lists that are out there for a lot of the different states. I believe in Oregon it's about 3 to 5 years. I think Washington is about the same. In California I think it's up to 7 years. So of course the more population in the state, the longer the waiting list could be, but if you've already given a kidney donation, you don't have to wait for that list. The next meeting we had was for the pharmacist. She was a little late, so we got a little bored and we're looking through the office and looking through the different things that they had available. And, we were trying not to go too stir crazy and keep ourselves entertained, staying positive. Sam even took a little nap on the exam table, which was kind of funny. Then when we met with the pharmacist, it was kind of a quick review. I've been taking these medications for over 10 years. My first transplants lasted about 13 years, which is considered a success. A lot of the medications I've already taken before. I know what types of meds that I need to take after the transplant. I know about the immunosuppressant drugs where they basically wipe out your immune system so your body doesn't reject the kidney right away, and they slowly bring back your immune system to let it adapt to the new kidney that's in you. The next part of the day after the pharmacist meeting, we went down to the car, dropped off some stuff. Alright, so we've met with most of the team, met with the pharmacist now, and now we go for the stress test. And hopefully they'll let us film that because it might be kind of interesting to check out and see what we have to go through for the stress test. So back at the car, unloading some of the gear and some sweatshirts and stuff like that real quick, and then up we go. Let's keep going. Now, I've never had a stress test like this before, and it was pretty interesting the way they had to do it. And I'll show you guys, the room that we were in, the treadmill, the ultrasound system that they had set up. And I wasn't able to film the actual running part of the stress test, but basically what they did is they had me lay down. They took pictures of my heart, which the ultrasound technician said I had a really beautiful photogenic heart, which was nice to hear. One of the techs that was in there actually had to shave my chest to put all the different probes on me so they wouldn't rip all my hair out with the stickies. And kind of an interesting thing, she had the same last name as me. I don't see too many Hubbards out there, so what's up, cousin? Wasn't really my cousin. What they did is they took pictures of my heart as it was resting. It was just normal baseline test. And then what they had me do is run on the treadmill. Every 3 minutes they would increase the speed and increase the angle of the treadmill, and it would go faster and faster and higher every 3 minutes. I was asking them what the record was, and they said it was 27 minutes. It was an Olympian, and I got up to 12 minutes, so I think that was pretty good. I got up to about a quick jog as I was trying to run, was like running uphill. I started to get really tired, and the ultrasound technician told me to, get tired, push myself as much as I could, but also make sure that I save a little bit of myself, because the really hard part of the test was after I was done running on the treadmill, I had to immediately lay back down and have her get pictures of my heart as it was, thumping real hard. But the hard part was she had me hold my breath to be able to take the photos with the ultrasound. So I'd have to breathe out and then stop breathing as I was almost completely out of breath and pretty tired from running on the treadmill. So it was really tough running on a treadmill, getting out of breath, and then trying to breathe all the way out and then hold your breath and not breathe in. It was really difficult. I was able to do it and get through the test. She got the photos that she needed, and then I was able to catch my breath and get back to normal. The next meeting we had was with the surgeon. He was a really awesome guy. He was funny. He was cracking jokes. Some of it was a little bit of dark humor, which I can appreciate. He made me feel really good, like there was a good chance of me finding a donor. He also explained to me that after already getting a kidney transplant, it's a little more difficult to find a match because your body has sort of developed antibodies and figured out that that kidney is not a part of you. So it does become a little bit more difficult to find a match, but that doesn't make it impossible. He also told me that he had good confidence in me, that I'm young, I'm healthy, and pretty physically fit, that I'll have good chances of a successful transplant with a live donor. One of the things that he did make sure to tell me is that he wants me to focus on building up my stamina as much as possible. He said I should walk about a mile or more every single day. And stamina is one of the biggest things because they're going to completely wipe out my immune system after the transplant, and stamina will be one of the greatest things to help me in that recovery process. So I'm going to definitely take his advice and get out there and start working out and exercising even more, and going for my walks every day. He made me feel really confident in his abilities, which is important to have confidence in your doctor when he's going to be opening up your guts and playing around inside of you and moving around your organs and things like that. It definitely seemed like a really smart guy, very positive guy, and made me feel really comfortable with him and his team that things could go really well. The final meeting we had was a quick meeting with the transplant nephrologist. So again, a really smart, nice guy, kind of reviewed a lot of the information that we already knew since I've already had a transplant before, and just to go over everything and make sure that I knew what to expect before, during, and after the transplant process. To finish up the day, I had to do a blood draw, which when you're going through transplant evaluation, they need to do a lot of different tests on your blood and make sure they cover all the different odds and ends. They took 18 vials of blood, which was quite a lot. Makes you feel a little dizzy. You get through it. Because it was even such an important test, the phlebotomist was even making extra sure that he double-checked all the labels, made sure that he got enough labels and took enough blood for all the different tests that they needed, because he wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to have to come back and give 18 vials of blood all over again. So I was glad that he took his time. He asked me to be a little bit patient and got the test done properly. At the very end of the day, we went up to the very top floor of the hospital and checked out some of the amazing views of Seattle. We didn't want to lollygag or take too much time hanging around because we had a long drive to get back to Bend, so I could make sure that I got to dialysis the following day at 6 a.m. So we had to hit the road and get back home. So the main reason I wanted to share this all with you guys is because I know that it's really hard going through health problems and struggling with major issues like this. It's important that you are your own medical caregiver. I know the doctors and the nurses and the coordinators, everybody has their jobs to do, but they can't do their job unless you're telling them what you need. And you have to know what you need, you have to be honest with how you're feeling, and you have to be the one to push this care in order to get the level of care that you deserve. It's also important to stay positive as you go through this process. It's not easy, but the more positive you are, the more likely people are to want to help you. Especially for a transplant and major types of health issues, it's important that you show that you're the type of patient that deserves to receive this amazing gift of a transplant, and that you're going to take good care of this transplant and make sure that it will last as long as possible. They're not going to give somebody a transplant who's feeling depressed or down in the dumps or doesn't have a positive outlook that the thing is going to work for you. They want to give a transplant to somebody who has the upbeat, positive mindset and knows that things are going to work out and that they're going to live a good life and that they're going to be okay. And they want to make sure that you're going to follow their orders, that you're going to take the medications that are needed, and that you're going to come back and go to the appointments that are necessary to make sure that you're doing well. Again, if you're not the one who's going to be fighting and pushing yourself through the healthcare, they can't make you go and they can't force the healthcare upon you. It's up to you ultimately. And ultimately, because I've already had a transplant before and that transplant was successful, I've taken my medications every single day for the past decade of my life, making sure that my transplant is doing well. I have already a good foot in the door showing them that I will definitely take care of another transplant and take care of that gift that somebody gives me. If you'd like to be considered as a donor for me, please go to the website below, livingdonorvm.org. They asked us to tell everybody that you please fill out this survey on a computer or on a laptop, not a cell phone or a tablet. I said a lot of times the website will crash or not function properly on a phone or a tablet. And since this is a pretty important thing that you're going to be donating part of yourself to me, it's important that you take it seriously and go on a computer and fill it out properly to receive that gift of life from somebody. It would definitely save my life. I can't live on dialysis forever, and I don't really know how to put into words what it would mean to me to receive the gift of a transplant from somebody, but it would definitely save my life and change my life for nothing but the better. I could be able to focus on my career more. I would feel stronger, healthier. Receiving that gift of life would be everything to me. So if you'd like to be considered a donor, please go to this website. I will put the link in the description of this video. Save my life. I know it's a big thing to ask for somebody to step up and donate part of their body, but I can promise you I will continue to fight and take care of myself and go through all the different appointments and struggles that I need to make sure that I'm living a healthy life. And I will also continue to share my story to help inspire others in their day and hopefully reach out to people that are having struggles of their own with either depression, health problems. I'd like to start reaching out to some kids that are in the hospital like I was and show them that they can live a good, strong, healthy life. Definitely would like to help people struggling with mental illness and showing them that they are able and they are strong and that they can get through any of the struggles that come their way. So that's my promise to you guys, is that I promise to take good care and respect the gift that you're giving me, but to continue to share this story to help other people in their lives. It's important that we stick together. It's important that we fight against negativity because there's just so much of it out there in the world. Also, real quick before I go, I wanted to let you guys know that I'm doing a giveaway for this print right here. If you'd like to win this print, please subscribe, and I'm going to pick the winner out of the first 100 subscribers. Please like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, don't forget, you can't roll over in dialysis. I love you guys. See you on the next one. End of the day, we're finished up here at Virginia Mesa. We got through all the tests, doctors' visits. Doctors were great. Everybody was really amazing. Sam had a little accident at the end of the day.
Dropped my phone in the toilet.
Dropped her phone in the toilet as we were leaving. What a way to end it. See you on the next one, guys. Love ya.